So you hear a ton about AI changing the world, right? But here's the thing. In the public sector, a massive and pretty risky experiment is already happening. We're about to pull back the curtain on this huge, kind of dangerous gap between how much AI governments are using and how little it's actually being governed. Just imagine this for a second. What if the vast majority of government employees, we're talking over 70% of them, were using artificial intelligence every single day? Sounds like a revolution in efficiency, doesn't it? Well, guess what? That world is already here. But, and this is a big but, only a tiny fraction of those same people, just 18%, actually believe their governments are deploying that AI effectively. I mean, that's not a gap. That's a canyon. And this chart right here, it just lays it all out. This is what we're calling the adoption governance gap. On one side, you have this explosive, widespread use of AI. And on the other, a near total collapse in confidence that it's being done right. You know, this disconnect is probably the single biggest risk in public sector AI today.
All right, so let's really dig into this disconnect and see just how deep this chasm really is.
Look, you have to understand, AI isn't some futuristic tech on a distant roadmap. No way. It is fully operational inside governments right now. Over 70% of public servants are using it. And get this, a staggering 82% of state CIOs say their teams are using generative AI, with 90% running pilots. The people using it, they feel empowered. Adoption is real and it is happening fast. But then, look at the other side of the coin. While basically everyone is using it, almost no one thinks it's being deployed well. Only 35% of employees have gotten any guidance on how to use it. This creates this huge operational risk, leading to a project failure rate of around 50%. I mean, this situation isn't just inefficient, it's downright reckless. Okay, so this isn't just some internal headache for government agencies. This governance gap, it has some very real and very high costs for all of us. We're talking about a massive market here. The public sector is on track to spend nearly $100 billion on AI by 2033. The financial opportunity to build better, more efficient government services is just enormous. But remember that failure rate? About half of all AI projects never even make it out of the pilot stage. So the risk is that governments could waste tens of billions of our taxpayer dollars on tech that never delivers, all because that foundation of trust and governance just wasn't there. And it's not like nobody's trying to fix it. The problem is the regulatory landscape is, well, it's a tangled mess. In the US alone, there are over 700 AI-related bills floating around. It's created this totally chaotic environment where agencies and tech vendors are basically trying to navigate a storm without a map. So here's the crucial point. This isn't just a tech problem. This gap is a direct threat to citizen rights. It completely erodes public trust when systems fail, and it leads to an incredible amount of financial waste. The stakes, honestly, couldn't be higher. But all that chaos, it's starting to clear up. A new regulatory structure is finally here, and it's forcing absolutely everyone to adapt. The rules of the game have changed. And listen, these are not suggestions. They're hard deadlines. In the US, a key procurement policy from the Office of Management and Budget kicks in by March 2026. Just a few months after that, the EU's Big AI Act becomes fully applicable for high-risk systems. Yeah, the clock is absolutely ticking. Let's zoom in on that US mandate for a second. It's called OMB M-26-04, and you need to know about it because it's a total game changer for procurement. It basically says that if a vendor can't prove its AI is transparent and well-governed, their contract can be terminated. Governance is no longer a nice-to-have, it's a requirement for getting paid. Simple as that. And the requirements are super specific. At a minimum, every single AI procurement now needs things like model cards. You can think of them like nutrition labels for AI, and clear use policies. But for the high-stakes stuff, the systems that affect citizen rights, the demands are way higher, requiring deep bias evaluations and full disclosure of any third-party code. So you're probably wondering, how does anyone, agencies, vendors, navigate this new world? Well, the solution might not be what you think. The answer isn't a slicker sales pitch or some mind-blowing product demo. It's about building something new called operational trust, which really is just a way of saying you have to prove, not just promise, that your AI system is safe, that it's fair, and that it's accountable. And to build that trust, you've got to tackle 5 key bottlenecks.
Governments need much more rigorous procurement. They need clear audit trails to see exactly how decisions are made. They need explainability for those decisions, clear ways for citizens to challenge an AI's ruling, and a solid plan to govern models as they change and update over time.
Okay, so when you put all of this together, you get what we can call the governance advantage. And this is where it all comes together, creating some very clear winners and losers in this brand new market. And the contrast between the old world and the new? It's stark. On one side, you have the old-school demo-led vendor who shows up with marketing hype. On the other, you have the assurance-ready vendor. They show up with proof, model cards, automated audit logs, and the ability to reconstruct any decision their AI makes. One is ready for business in 2026, and the other, well, isn't. And this, right here, is the absolute key takeaway. In government AI, the most compelling product demo is now a folder full of governance documents. The most valuable new feature isn't more horsepower, it's a verifiable audit trail. Proof has become way more important than promises. Thorsten Meyer just sums it up perfectly. The vendor who arrives with audit trails wins the contract. The vendor who arrives with a demo wins the meeting and loses the procurement. In this new era, you might win the meeting with a flashy demo, but you will only win the contract with provable operational trust. The game has totally changed, and now governance, well, that's the ultimate competitive edge.